Hello and welcome. My name is Benjamin Fröhlich from Permanent Vacation. Tom Bioli and I, we founded the label together in 2006 in Munich. It was a very tropical summer. Now we have a very cold winter, 2026. So if you can count, it's 20 years we're celebrating this year. And today I'm going to show you some records that helped to shape the sound of Permanent Vacation. So we have Antenna, the Camino del Sol remixes by Joachim and Todd Terje. We just had re-released the classic album by Antenna, the Camino del Sol, which is a Balearic classic, and we were looking for some remixes. We really enjoyed Joachim at that time and what he did with the remixes. The LMOir remix comes to mind, so we thought he would do something like moody and spacey, cosmic kind of style. But then he came up with this rave grenade, replayed the melodies and put it like very club-friendly music. And it was like, wow, this is great. But hopefully Isabel Antenna will like this because it's quite a big shift from the original. But we got lucky and she loved it too. So we were able to release it. And it became our first hit on Permanent Vacation. I remember vividly that we gave it to Dixon at his party. And he played it, and this was the first time that we heard it out loud in a club. And Tom and I, we were jumping up and down for joy because we knew we had something special on our hands here. This is the 40 Thieves, Don't Turn It Off. 40 Thieves are a collective from San Francisco, and they made a cover version of the soul and disco track by Hot Chocolate, and they made a modern day disco classic out of it and put their magic touch on it. And it still sounds super fresh today, although it's 18 years old now. And this was one of our sleeves back then with the Zeppelin, so it's quite nice. And there are some new remixes coming soon out of it, so watch out.
You're quite tasty, ain't you, baby? You got my knees like jelly, babe. That kind of feeling that you're giving, taking me, making me high. Don't turn it off, don't turn it off, I kinda like it. Don't turn it off, don't turn it off, I kinda like it.
I think that there is like a line that we follow, but it's only our personal taste, so it's really hard to say. And I really enjoyed it. It's quite open, and we don't can pigeonhole into one style. We have like, yeah, of course, disco, but cosmic, but also house, deep house, and I think in general we have a broad sense of what we like, and so we restrict ourselves to what we can have on the label. But I think there's still a certain label sound to it, although the genres can be a big variety of it. Here we have the Dolle Jolle Balearic incarnation, especially the Todd Terje remix. It came out in 2008. And the whole Norwegian disco movement was in full bloom, and this Dolle Jolle was the latest addition. The original is like a Jean-Luc Ponty-inspired Balearic Dream. But here I want to show you the Todd Terje remix. He is like the edit and remix master. And he turned this into like a 10 minutes new disco monster that builds and builds and builds, and is one of the tracks that creates those special moments on the dance floor. I remember we were sitting in Tom's living room and hearing this for the first time. Terje just had sent it, and we were like, wow, this is so great. And I think that's what always makes it special. When you remember the first time you hear a track, then you know it's something special, or it's like you always remember the hits where and when you heard it for the first time. This was also voted into the best 100 tracks of the 2000s on Resident Advisor, which made us very proud of. Here we have Dem X Crew, Come To Me, which was actually a re-release, and it was one of our favorite tracks from his 1998 album New Romantics, which we also re-released later on. This came out in 2009, and it says Parentification Evergreen. It was supposed to be a series, but I guess we peaked too early with this one because we never did a second edition. But the original was only on the album, so we wanted to have like a really loud and 45 pressing to play it properly in the club. Also, we asked him for an instrumental, because there was never one. I don't need it because I really love the vocals, and I still play today, like almost every time. We are closing in on our 400th release, if I remember correctly. I think we are at 374 at the moment. So it's quite a bunch. And I have to admit that I already sometimes Shazammed a track because I didn't know it was from us. I heard it somewhere and it's like, wait, that's a great track. Oh shit, that's a Parentification track. But it happens rarely. The most of them are EPs, of course, but I think we have about 30 albums, I would say, something like that, which is for like a more club-orientated label, quite some numbers. This is a very special one, Midnight Magic, Beam Me Up. It's probably one of the tracks that most people heard of without even knowing there was on Parentification. I was in a cafe the other day and it was playing in the background. That's always funny to me to hear like our music in very different environments. Midnight Magic is a disco band from New York, and we discovered them through MySpace actually back then, and we contacted them. And funny enough, Andrew and Morgan from the band, they played in another project and they had a concert in Munich where we went to. And I think we were the only guests, if I remember correctly. And we talked to them and dragged them to a bar afterwards, gave them some whiskeys and sealed the deal for this one. The original is like a perfect disco slow burner, but the Jacques Renaud remix of it That's the one that all the DJs played because he speeded up the tempo but didn't change too much, and this is just a pure disco house classic. So this is the John Talabot album called Finn. Yeah, it's our biggest selling album so far of the label. It came out 2012. We already had some 12 inches with Uri from Barcelona before that, and you can already feel that something was bubbling up. And when the album hit, everything came together. We got a really, really good review on Pitchfork for that, and after that, it took off. I think it was the perfect timing. It really hit a sweet spot between like electronic, indie, poppy. It crossed over into very different genres, and a lot of people discovered it and really liked it. One of the standout tracks here is Destiny, featuring the great vocals by Pional. And yeah, you can still listen today and it sounds as fresh as ever. There are some artists who are with us from the beginning. Bostro Pisopeo comes to mind, Wolfie comes to mind, and then there are some artists who go a little bit in and out, do some stuff here and back then, and then of course there are some where you only maybe have one release and then sometimes even the artists stop doing music or whatever. And yeah, so it's really nice to see. But I think most of the artists we had like a good relationship with. And then it's, even if there's a longer period of time where you maybe didn't come together, but after some time, then it fits, and that's always nice to see. This is the Lauer Answers to Trouble album. Lauer is definitely one of the producers who shaped the sound of Permanent Vacation over the years. We released so many music with him, whether it was his solo productions or with Brontosaurus or with Tough City Kids together with Gerd Jansson, or with Black Spuma with Fabrizio Mamarella. And so I chose Make It Stay featuring Dana because this is like a perfect example for the Permanent Vacation sound. It's like very uplifting, happy, and just feel-good music, I would say. We also released a remix of Gerd Jansson, which became quite popular after the pandemic. When everything opened up again, it was like the perfect soundtrack for it. This is the Massimiliano Pagliara See You in Paradise album, which came out 2022, so fairly recently. And the track I chose here is Reset. It's definitely one of the standout cuts from the album, and it's featuring Ford Romeau and Coloray on vocals, both artists we also work with. And I have a very special connection to this one because Massi organized a release party for the album at Panorama Bar, and he played Reset as the last track, and Coloray was there, and he stepped up and took the mic and sang the lyrics live. And this was like a very goosebumpy moment for me, and every time I don't feel so good, I remember this moment, and yeah, then I'm happy again.
Back to the start.
The biggest challenges are always like the constantly changing formats that you represent the music on. And I mean, we started loud with like a fax machine, and but not the music, but records was the only thing. Then came downloads, and now obviously streaming. And I think every platform now needs a special way to present the music, and this makes it a little bit more complicated because it's just not only one release or like one record that you put out and that's it, but you have like this very different formats that they are all constantly changing all the time, and that's definitely a little bit challenging. But on the other hand, we don't want to put too much attention, and we just we always focused on what music we liked and what to put out, and mostly you can't control it. You put it out and then you see what the world makes out of it, and I think we always stick to this kind of rule that we just put out the stuff that we want and see what's happening, and you can't tell it anyway. When the pandemic hit, we took a break with the vinyl because we didn't know what to expect and how everything will turn out. So not everything is on vinyl, but now we're starting to do more vinyls again because it's just fun. And also, I think there's a new generation of kids who discover the music, and they are very keen on vinyl. So we're happy to continue this format.